I have 2 books at my bedside, Lieutenant. The Marine Corps Code of Conduct and the King James Bible.
I hate snakes, Doc! I hate them! And may the Christian Lord guide my hand against your Roman popery! And they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
We're on a mission from God.
Entitled, you want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Maybe we should chug on over to Mamby-Pamby land where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon!
Coming to you live from his padded cell high atop Bethel Church, the most heralded, the most despised talk show in all of human history. This is the talk show hell hates. This is Pastor Mike Online.
And here we are coming to you live from our top secret broadcasting bunker here at Area 52. On the road from one end of Highway 66 to the other end of Highway 66. This is Pastor Mike Online. And what I mean by that is, let me tell you what I mean by that. The beginning of Highway 66, Route 66, starts out with, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then part of the way through the journey down Route 66, we have nearly similar words. In the beginning, same thing. Jesus said, I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. And then the end of the Route 66 is just the beginning. I like that. Think about it, because that's what our Lord said. I am the beginning and the end. They're the same. Revelation 21, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. For the first time ever, God the Father is now with men. Men can now see his face and not like blow up because they saw God. Not be afraid like Manoah and his wife, Samson's father and mother, because they knew they had seen God, and they said, no man can see God and live. We're going to die. But if obviously they didn't, because God had, I believe that angel of the Lord that they saw, I believe that was Christ. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful words. Let's see here. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Somebody say amen. Now, I just felt like reading that. That just blessed my heart. Let me go to an article that I've had for about a week now, and I referenced it last night during our service. By the way, we're just being pelted here at the church with sleet. Snow, a little bit of snow. Here's what happened last night, overnight, after we had service. And I really didn't expect anybody to come last night. The roads were already fairly dangerous. People, the older folk, they're not going to get out. I don't want them to. Which is why we stream, why we do what we do. But anyway, the plan was we were supposed to take our granddaughter up to Children's Hospital in St. Louis to have tubes put in their ears. And we got up early this morning. Woke up about 4:30 to give ourselves plenty of time to get up there. It's about an hour drive if things go well. But I got up and got ready, and when I got outside, it was still dark, and I looked across the parking lot, and I went, uh-oh. And I could feel it on my face. There was just a slight mist in the air. And John had got out yesterday, and he shoveled a little path there by the back door of the church, kind of going across where people park and so on, and he had salted that real well. Well, the salt was still there, but there was a glaze of Zamboni ice. If you are a hockey fan, you know what that is. The Zamboni is the machine that comes out after the first and second period of a hockey game, and smooths the surface of the ice again to where it looks all nice and shiny and perfect, like it was just laid down and frozen. And that's what it looked like. And even where he had scraped it off, the sleet from that day, there was a layer of solid ice. And that ice now, this mist had been coming down apparently all night, and even into, I'd say probably up to about 10 or 11 today. I'd walk outside and that mist was still just, you couldn't hardly see it, but you could feel it. It hit your face every now and then. Well, those are water droplets, and as cold as it is, as soon as it hits the ground, boom, you've got ice. And there is a layer of very dangerous ice right on top of all that sleet that came down yesterday. Now we get more sleet happening right now. Maybe, I don't know if we're going to get any snow out of this. The sleet's bad enough. So anyway, here we are. Where was I going with that? But it's been an interesting day. We had the hospital, the local hospital, and which has a psych unit, which serves sometimes as a drug dry out tank. And we end up, because the hospital is just maybe 5-6 blocks away from here, we end up with whoever they let out, and they don't have a ride. No family's picking them up. Nothing's going on. They end up usually walking by here. Well, my daughter called me. She lives next door, in the house next door, and she said, "Dad, there's some crazy woman out here cursing loudly and so on." The police were out there already. And I said, "Well, get off the phone and record it." So she did. I'm not going to play the recording. But obviously this young lady, either under a psychological, some sort of psychosis episode, or she got out and just got high. But she wasn't dressed really well enough to be out in this cold. I just saw the video where she kicked her shoes off at the police. They're doing everything they can not to, harm this girl, or just grab her and say, "You're going to jail," and beat her with clubs and everything. They're doing everything they can. She ends up coming over here to the church, front door of the church, which we keep locked, front door of the church. And I go down and I see her there, and the police are there in the parking lot, and she's cursing them. I was told, I didn't see this, I was told at one point she lifted her shirt, and she's doing everything she can, it looks like, to get arrested. Then she slid down the steps on her bottom of the front porch of the church, went over to one of the basement windows there in the front of the building, and ripped out one of the screens and tossed it. It didn't damage it. She just took the screen out and threw it across the yard, and the cops going, "Okay, that's it. You're going to jail." And they asked him, came in, asked us, we wanted to press charges. I said, no, she didn't really do anything. And so anyway, but it was obvious that she was looking for a warm bed again. It's obvious to me. What a shame. However she ended up this way, there is a healer for her named Jesus Christ. She is his creation. Understand, I know we don't like the drugs in our neighborhood. I know the drugs destroy people. We don't want drug. Marijuana in Muskogee. I guarantee you they smoke marijuana in Muskogee now. And so anyway, what a shame for this young lady to already have a destroyed life, whether at her own hand or by the hand of others or whatever. At that time, a man was on the phone with me. He had heard me Tuesday talk about the young teenager who is in a psychiatric hospital now with the possibility of being possessed, or at least in cooperation with a very evil spirit or group of them. And this man called while this was going on, and I had to get off the phone, but he said his I want to say his wife's sister, I think is who it was, his sister-in-law possibly. I may be getting the connection wrong, but anyway, similar situation. This woman has been claiming to see a spirit. She described it as having black wings and bronze or brass body, and a couple other things. And I had to get off the phone and deal with what was going on here at the church. So anyway, it's been an interesting day. Whoever that young lady is, we will just refer to her as Mary, as in Mary Magdalene, of whom she was possessed of 7 devils. And we will pray for her that God will deliver her. Jesus did for Mary and changed her life forever. We are still speaking of Mary Magdalene to this day because of what Jesus did in her life. And so we will pray for, quote unquote, Mary, and ask the Lord to save her, to bless her, to bring her out of the life that she's in. People, this is not, I know we wish to go to heaven, but this is not the time to retreat. It is the time to march forward as soldiers of the Lord and remember who our enemies are. Our enemies are not this young lady ripping our screen off of one of our windows. I didn't get mad at that. I'm just standing there shaking my head, holding my phone, recording it. I'm just standing there shaking my head, just going, that poor young lady. So anyway, you pray for Mary, all right? Now, let's go to Revelation 13. Take your Bible. Should I put it on the screen for you? Do I have to every time? No, I guess I will. Revelations 13, one of the most quoted places in the Bible, and probably the least understood place in the whole Bible. People spout out mark of the beast as if they know exactly what it is, and they're gonna be sure and call it before anybody else does, to get those ratings up on YouTube, to drive the advertisement revenue to come into their website, so they make all these outrageous claims, like I'm going to do today, outrageous claims of what the mark of the beast is, and it's because they want credit for it. They want credit for being the one. I spotted this. I saw a guy do this at a Club Old Prophecy meeting down in, I think it's Alabama. Mobile. No, not Mobile. It wasn't in Mobile. Anyway, capital, I guess things capital of Alabama. But anyway, was at a Prophecy Club meeting and was there to speak. And a bunch of people that were already there. And there was a man going around bragging to just different groups. I saw him. He just sort of had this Elvis Presley haircut with the, long sideburns, whatever. That's kind of how I remember him. Maybe that's a caricature of him, but that's how I remember him. But anyway, it just seemed like the Holy Ghost said, "Mike, watch this man. So, people are in these little groups waiting for the meeting to start, and they're talking, they're talking about UFOs, they're talking about prophecy, and they're talking about the New World Order, and, the detention camps are right next to my house, the stuff like that. And this guy's going around to every group. And he was, I guess, some pastor, supposedly, of a church. I don't know. Self-appointed, who knows? But anyway, he's bragging now that God showed him what was going to happen. This was just a few years after 9/11. That God had showed him before 9/11 what was going to take place at 9/11. He said, yeah, God showed me 9/11 before it ever happened. And I don't remember what all details he gave. He gave absolutely no proof that he ever did. And so I just don't believe it. But that's what he's doing. And it's like I'm watching this and I'm getting a little wisdom here. And the scriptures, when it talks about false prophets, their motivation, and there's several motivations, but one of them is that they intend to draw disciples unto themselves. They want people to listen to them. You get it from me because God speaks to me. And if God speaks to me, he's not speaking to you because he's speaking to me. And if you want to hear what God has to say, then you must get it from me. And that's the kind of that's what he was doing. He was there selling himself to all these people there, trying to draw in disciples unto himself. And he's just, I believe he was lying through his teeth. My question in my heart was, if you knew that 9/11 was going to take place before it happened, how hard would it have been? So 9/11 happened September 11th, 2001. How hard would it have been to put this on tape somehow, some way? Videotape, audio cassette, anything, and some sort of recorded proof of your prediction of this before it happened. Then, if God showed you this, where were you September 11th, 2001? If you were not in Lower Manhattan warning people not to go into those buildings, that danger is on its way. You may sound like a fruitcake until the first plane goes in. Why weren't you there trying to warn people? God would have been with you, would he not? God surely wouldn't have just let you be some kook out there. If God wanted to warn everybody through this man, he would have been with you. And people would have said, are you serious? I think I'm going to call in today. We'll just see. Won't hurt anything. Why didn't you save somebody's life? Somebody's soul? So I just didn't believe it for a minute. And we have a man, Revelation chapter 13, called the false prophet. So what you do is you go through the Bible and you look at, and there's numerous places. There's what Jesus said, beware of wolves, as, in wolves in sheep's clothing. Read what Paul said. Grieve as wolves shall enter into the flock after I'm gone. They won't come in while I'm there because I'll run them out. But after I'm gone, grieve as wolves will enter in. Which is why after he leaves practically every church that he started, he's got to write a letter now and correct some doctrine on most of them, not all of them. Read Deuteronomy 13 and the warnings giving there. Read Deuteronomy 18, the forbidden practices and the warnings against listening to false prophets and how to know whether a guy is a false prophet or not. Read Ezekiel 13, the prophets and the priest building walls with untempered mortar, saying, God has said, and God said, I have never said that. Read Acts chapter 13 of the false prophet named Bar Jesus, okay, and what he was attempting to do. Read 1 Peter chapter 3. No, what's this? 1 Peter? 2 Peter chapter 2. Read that. And Peter's description of a false prophet and their motives and how they do things and so on and so on. And read Jude as the backup witness to what Peter was saying. Follow those clues and look at different men given to you in the scriptures who were false prophets. And then you'll get this image, collect all of that together, and that's who you have here in Revelation chapter 11. So it says, and I beheld another beast. And that's exactly what Peter said. These as natural brute beasts made to be taken and destroyed. So another beast coming up, not out of the sea, but out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb. That's what that is. Who did that? There was an AC/DC album, wasn't it? One of the singers did that, put it on his head. But anyway, and it had two horns like a lamb. So what does a horn represent? Represents forced dominion. That's what the horns are. It's for butt heads, butting heads. Okay? He had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Stop and think about it. Our computers are listening to us. And that was made possible over a period of time, especially with a product on the market called Dragon Naturally Speaking. Look it up. It is a speech-to-text generator. In other words, you speak the words, you sprechen the Deutsch, and the Deutsch is written out on your Word, Microsoft Word, or if you use, LibreOffice now? If you use that, or if you're using, forgive me, Apple, or whatever it is, Dragon Naturally Speaking. And let me explain what that is. It is artificial intelligence. So in the old days, these men who were executives and could have their own secretary and so on, and Miss Parker, would you come? Mrs. Wiggins, Could you come in here, please? And so Miss Wiggins would walk in, and he'd say, I'm going to dictate a letter to you. And so he starts speaking. She starts writing in shorthand. And all of a sudden, she whizzes off, types it all up for his signature. Boom, it's gone. But now we don't need Mrs. Wiggins. Now we have a dragon. Now we have AI, artificial intelligence, to speak to. And artificial intelligence now can take our voice and understand the words that we're speaking well enough to, let's go back 20 years with Dragon Naturally Speaking. I think it was around 20 years ago. It's been around a while with that. And it was good enough to be able to understand most people's speech. And they would talk into the microphone, and the computer would generate the text of what they were saying. Now we have the similar technology here, where the computer is not just listening to our voice and writing out what we say. It is now attempting to comprehend what we say with Siri and Hey Google and who is Microsoft's thing or whatever. Alexa with Amazon or whatever. Now they understand us as we're speaking to them. They understand our language. They can perform our requests. Children, this is what scares me, is that the children of this generation, this world right now, and I'm talking 3-4 years old, are already speaking to Alexa or Google or Siri and getting results. Kids are getting, Amazon's, sending a whole pile of stuff that the kid ordered through Alexa, and the mom and dad come home. There's big boxes of stuff on the front porch. Who ordered this? It's the kid. Okay? But anyway, that's all artificial intelligence. So, back to Revelation 13. He spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, causes them. Now, let's use Nazi Germany for an example in this, okay? And this is not really what I was going to talk about today, but it'll lead into it. We'll get there. I've got no place to go, so anyway. Nazi Germany started out, Hitler in his prime, moving an entire German nation simply with his speeches. The Nuremberg festivals, the big Kim Il-jung does it in North Korea certain day, and it's like freezing cold out there. All these Koreans are parading these tanks and his rockets, and then thousands of troops marching down the streets, and people there all, celebrating and worshiping their God dictator, Kim Il-jung. And is that real or is it forced? Well, he's a dictator. What difference does it make? If it doesn't happen, you're going to get killed no matter what. But Hitler was able to move an entire nation with his speeches and rally the German people with his words. That's all he did. Well, I won't say all he did. Meanwhile, he is working behind the scenes to eliminate any threat to his power, his political power. Not by killing people, not by killing the Deutsche Volk, the German people, but going after the German parliament, disbanding them, naming himself chancellor, naming himself president, naming himself Der Fuhrer, putting himself in and sending out a decree saying, I am the singular leader of Germany, period. There is no Congress, there is no parliament to tell me I cannot do something. He got rid of them all. Burnt the building down and closed it up. No more parliament. Nobody can tell me no now. I'll do whatever I want. And the German people, because they are moved by his speeches, by his words, great swelling words. That's a Bible term referring to how false prophets do it. Great swelling words. He moves the German people to say, it's all right, go ahead. Be the Führer. And initially, the German people they're just enamored with this man. And the way he speaks. And the eye candy that he's able to put on. He was an artist. He designed the swastika. He designed the German flag. It was right down to the measurements and the ratio of the circle to the swastika and in what degree the swastika is to be tilted and, the red area, the white area, the black swastika. All of that designed by him. And then Goebbels coming in, or Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels, coming in as his propaganda minister because they already had a propagoose. Boom, gotcha. You can't have a propaganda without a propagoose. Anyway, Goebbels coming in, taking over the German film industry. Brilliant move. Making movies. Get this. Making movies that get people to accept the message of the Nazi Party and of Adolf Hitler and of the war and of how great it is to be German. We're going to be the new world order. That's what Hitler called his 1,000-year Reich, his new order. You didn't know that, did you? That's what he called it, his new order. So his speeches, along with the media industry that Goebbels had taken over and brilliantly used, now the German people are just, let's go to war. War. I mean, these are butcher, bakers, and candlestick makers. These are businessmen. In some cases, these are Jews who don't know the trap that's being set. And nobody is being forced to do anything yet. And that's my point. The false prophet, let's look at verse 12 again. And these words are, people, this is what I've been trying to get you to do, is examine, search the scriptures to see whether these things be true or not. So he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. He has power. He has authority. He has 2 horns. Okay? And he uses that power over people to cause the earth and them, never saw that before. I never saw that before. He exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Never saw that before. What does it mean? And causeth the earth to worship. And he has to mean not the people of the earth, because he says that later, and them which dwell therein. Therein refers to the earth, the planet, earth, big blue ball. The earth itself is going to worship the first beast. Never saw that. So what does that mean? Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of the Lord, the firmament showeth his handiwork, day unto day uttereth speech, night unto night showeth knowledge. There's no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Yeah. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. There are verses in the Bible which speak of the things of this earth that all give their praise to God. The fish of the sea, the fowl of the air. All of them, I believe, according to the Bible, know their maker. It's man that doesn't. I never saw that before. But that's something to ponder. And I certainly am not ready for that one yet. Man, that's big. Anyway, but he's not forcing anybody to do anything. How can you force the earth? How can you force the earth? Who had power over the wind, the sea? Who is it that can walk on the water as if he's walking on the land? Who is it that can cause the rains to fall or the rains to stop? Who has power over that? God does. Man. Anyway, he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Worship. God has given man a choice. Now again, if you are James White or other of a Reformed Calvinist nature, then you don't believe we get a choice. So what, according to them, what difference does it make? But that's not what the Bible teaches. Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. 2 trees in the midst of the garden, and God said, choose one of them. And I'll give you the rules. But they're there right in front of you. And God said, choose life. Please choose life. But people don't. So in this case, not only does the false prophet cause people to receive the mark, he causeth them to worship the first beast. And my point is this: worship is always a choice. Always. Now, there are those, and I'm not going to get into the whole Christmas thing. There are people who don't have a celebration of Christ's birth. Okay, it's not a big deal to me that you don't. You do or you don't, I don't care. Okay? He that regardeth the day regardeth unto the Lord. He that regardeth not the day to the Lord, he regardeth not the day. Okay? But I've the argument that some people, and they just sit and make up sins by saying, "Oh, you got a tree in your house. Trees are evil." Where? And then you bow down to them when you get the gift out of it. Okay, so do I worship my car when I have to change the tire? Is my wife worshiping our toilet when she has to clean it? Or when she makes me clean it? No, I'm not worshiping my toilet. That's stupid. Even though she says, you're cleaning that today. I ain't cleaning that. You're cleaning it. She'll make me do it. But that doesn't mean I'm worshiping the toilet. People who bow to idols do so by choice. Your religion is your choice. Only in places like North Korea must you there's a law in North Korea. Every house has to have a picture of Kim Jong-il in their house, and there's even a law on how big it is and where it hangs and how it's decorated. And they'll come in your house and look to see if that's there. If it's not there, you and your family get to go spend a 2-year vacation in a work camp. Okay? Now that's forced, which is not of the heart. And you have everybody on the internet screaming to the top of their voice that everybody's going to be forced to take this mark, or that the plan is to secretly embed it into something, and so that it's done without our knowledge or consent, and we need to expose this. And that's not what the Bible teaches. It's not. Nobody is worshiping God at gunpoint. Nobody. And so that's why I said, read the Bible about how the false prophets do what they do. Let me give you an example. I mentioned Deuteronomy 13. Turn there. Let me put it up on the screen for you. Deuteronomy 13. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder. Okay. Let's not deal with his motivation right now. Let's deal with his method. His goal, according to this, is to get people to worship the gods that are coming. And they're coming. So, what is the method that he is using to bring people to the choice of worshiping or going after these gods? What is the method that he's using? Is it the sword? Is it the spear? Is it an army? No. It's a sign or a wonder, a dream or a vision. That's how they do it. There are people that have written me over the years that are convinced that guys like David Blaine and others really are satanically given magic powers to levitate and to do things. And I respectfully disagree with that. I have yet to see anybody as a magician who I firmly believe did something by way of supernatural ability. Guys like David Blaine, Chris Angel, David Copperfield. Who was the guy in the 70s wore the sort of like the New Age hippie clothing? Had a mustache, long hair. The Wonderful World of Magic and Illusion. And he was doing Houdini's water torture trick where he's locked up, lowered down, upside down into a big water tank and only get, so much time to get out. And finally, they're starting to bring guys out, with sledgehammers to bust the glass on the cage. This is on like live television or something like that. And finally, he emerges. He is blue as the sky, breathing heavily. The roar of the crowd, but he almost died in there. He didn't dissolve the chains and, absorb through the glass and come out magic. It's an illusion. They hide keys and picks and things in their bodies. Houdini, he would put them, what they call your prison wallet. He would hide stuff there. He would hide anywhere. Houdini had the ability to swallow a key and then go like that, bring it up. All sorts of tricks. This guy, I believe, is going to use them for real. I believe this is going to be real supernatural events. He showeth, he's a dreamer of dreams, and he giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass. Whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us allow. Let is allow. Let's. It's an invitation. Let us go after other gods. That's an invitation. Not a forced submission. And people are going to make that choice. So yes, I absolutely reject any notion of any kind of forced New World Order submission to jackbooted thugs. Now, is government getting more and more evil? Yes. And that's biblical. Because of the sins of the people, there's many princes now. We don't have just, we don't have just a president. We got a whole big, huge, million-man government bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., and they all rule over us. There's a lot of power in that town, and most of it's corrupt. But can you and I say right now that we're forced into tyranny? You have not seen tyranny. Not yet. But my point is this. I absolutely reject this notion that people are going to be at gunpoint forced, number one, to worship the first beast. They're going to do it by choice. The lady that I talked to the other day, her brother-in-law is going to have a Catholic Mass said for her deceased husband, who she said, him and her both, they love the Lord. They read the King James Bible. They're both born again, saved by grace through faith. They consider me their pastor, and they've been this way for years. But the guy years ago made an agreement with his brother, if I die, I'm going to put you in charge. You do whatever you want with me. And he is choosing now to have a Catholic Mass said over his body. Now, is that Mass going to have any effect on that man's salvation? No, because he's not part of it. He was saved. He didn't ask his brother, now, going to need a funeral mass because I'll be in purgatory. He didn't say that. Okay? This is just his brother. But the lady said that she is real close to this family, and they all love each other, but she said they are just Catholic. And they're not changing. They are a Catholic by choice. No one's making them do anything. Can a person leave the Catholic Church? Can a person say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. This is a joke. That guy can't turn that bread. That wafer is still a cookie. It's not no body of Jesus or anybody. It's nothing. This is bogus. I'm out of here. Can a person do that? Yes. They do it all the time. And that's what's coming. Then, look at verse 13. What does he do? Great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. and deceiveth them. Again, that's his methods of operation. That's how he's going to do it. And once more, we see no evidence of the false prophet using any type of forced submission. It's all a choice. Every bit of it. He deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause. Now, cause. Now we have a little bit of force going on here. Anybody that doesn't worship the beast should be killed. But clearly, the false prophet never used those techniques. He just simply deceived them into it. And again, let's go back to Nazi Germany. Despite Hitler's ability as an actor and an orator, and I mean, you have to admit, the German World War II uniforms were pretty sharp. Okay? They were pretty sharp. Pretty nice looking. And that was part of it. Okay? Hitler did not want a sloppy looking military. He himself took great care on his appearance. At the latter part, he was so addicted to the drugs that he was being given by his doctor that he just gave up and killed himself. But anyway, Hitler doesn't use force at the beginning to draw the people of Germany into giving him power. Now, does that mean that everybody at that time is a Hitler lover? No. Only after Hitler has all the power. His first campaign as a military conqueror was Austria. Austria was not part of Germany, even though they were common sprachen the same Deutsch. They had their own government. They had their own ruling class or whatever. And Hitler says, we're kindred folk. I'm going to take you over. And they say, okay, come on in. And Hitler took over Austria. Not a shot fired. Not a bullet fired. Not one. No resistance. They're waving the swastika as Hitler triumphantly goes, rides into Austria. Takes it over, and they all want him. They all want him there. But after a while, then you start taking in places like Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, where those people didn't ask to be Germans or be part of Hitler's Reich. Now you need a Gestapo. Now you need force. Now you need it. But the power had already been given to him. What I meant to talk about today was AI. And a little extra. Let me show you this. Microsoft goes public with details on its Singularity AI infrastructure service. Now, the term singularity, we know, was coined by Ray Kurzweil. And Ray Kurzweil, using this term, the idea of a singularity originally had to do with a black hole. What did it reference? The singularity. I think the point at which you're no longer outside the black hole, you're in it, and now you're part of the singularity. Everything that the black hole has sucked in is all together, and it's all compressed matter. Similar to the idea of how they view the Big Bang. Let's see here. I need something kind of really small. Let's say this, okay? This car, 57 Corvette, Anyway, it's a matchbox. Let's say this car is the universe before the Big Bang. According to the physicists, according to the big brains, and the beginning of, what was that TV show, The Big Bang? The whole universe was in a hot, dense state. So they believed that, now think of the vastness of the universe. Think of the vastness of, and how much material there is in the second heaven. Okay? Above the earth, all the stars, all the planets, the moons, the asteroids, okay, left, whatever, all of that compressed into the size of this matchbox car. It's actually, according to them, was way smaller than this. Okay? Almost nothing in size. It was extremely dense and compacted together. And then kaboom. And within literally the first few seconds, microseconds, they say, there was already the expanse of this matter making its way out, stretching out the heaven. Okay? That's what originally they believe happened. We don't believe that. Anyway, my point is this. The singularity, everything goes, It's like trying to stuff everything that you own into this little matchbox car. Okay? Once you enter the black hole, you're part of the singularity. Ray Kurzweil took that term and applied it to the day when machines became functionally alive. He called it the singularity. He used that term. When I see that word, singularity, I think of, in Christianity, the book of Acts, as the early church was being saved. They had all things common. They were one. Sort of like in the gestation period, from the moment of conception to the first few days, every cell is compacted together with every other cell, and they all look alike. Every single one of them. No divergence, no difference between them, nothing. After a while, the cells start looking different, start doing different things, so on and so on. And anyway, the singularity is the day, I believe, when not only artificial intelligence becomes alive, but then it will, by then, probably already have everyone connected to it. Not just by phone, by whatever the mark ends up being. The mark, I believe, causes everyone in the world. Remember what was said in the Psalms about idols? They have ears, cannot hear. They have a nose, they cannot smell. Mouth, they cannot speak. Eyes cannot see. Hands, arms that cannot reach. Legs cannot walk. Those that make them are like unto them. So are those that worship them. So basically, man then is one with his idol. They are the same. Okay? Edgar Mitchell always signed his name, Sixth Man to Walk on the Moon. On his way back from the lunar surface, scientist, renowned scientist, intelligent man, not given to wacky thoughts, probably not really a religious man, but on the way back from the lunar surface has what's called a samadhi experience. And he said it dawned on him. He has this awakening that because the molecules of his body came from the earth, and the earth came from the Big Bang of the universe, because of that, he now understands that he is one with the universe. And in that thinking, the universe is God. The universe is God. So Edgar Mitchell now believes, of course, he's dead now. I think he's changed his doctrine. I think he has after he's dead. But he literally believes now that he is one with his Creator. That sounds like the plot theme to Star Trek the Motion Picture, where Captain Decker decides to become one with V'ger, and which is a big mechanical artificial intelligence god, and he becomes one with it. He joins himself with it. You see where we're going with this? Man will join himself with his gods always. That's what the Catholic Mass is. Man joining himself with God, in communion with God. We are one now. I have God in me, so therefore I am God. Okay? That's what that means. And here's what they called it. Azure. And I mentioned this last night. And it's called that, and I looked up the word, and it means, it's a word for the heavens. That's what it is. That's how the sky is described. It's the color of the sky during the day. Oh, not this day. The color of our sky today is gray. But a blue sky. Microsoft named its artificial intelligence after heaven, because it has to do with what's called cloud computing. If you have a Chrome tablet, and I'm not saying this is evil yet, but if you have a Chrome tablet, then what you have is, and I got to speed this up because I got a phone call I got to take. But if you have a Chrome tablet, what you have is an empty computer, is what I call them, because it's basically what they are. The laptop I have behind me, you can't see it, is a Microsoft Windows laptop, and the hard drive in the machine itself physically contains the programs that run on that computer. And I do not need the internet to run that computer. I do not need it, because all the programs are already on that computer. And if I just turn off the Wi-Fi, don't plug any network cable into it, then everything on that laptop is private, secure, and by itself. Okay? But a Chrome laptop is different, because the programs that run on that laptop, the code for those programs are not physically located on the hard drive of the laptop. They're located in a Google warehouse somewhere, what they call a data center. And it's called cloud computing, instead of your Chromebook being separate from the whole rest of the world, it now is part of the whole rest of the world. Because if you see the little, program icon and you tap it or whatever, then the program is being executed on a computer, let's say in Dallas, Texas somewhere. And then through the internet, you're working with this program that's being sent to you from some other computer. Okay? I don't know if you understand that or not, but it's sort of like you want to watch what your neighbor has HBO, you don't have it. So you know your neighbor's TV is on all the time on HBO. So you put a camera in your neighbor's living room, and when you want to watch HBO, you sit in your house and you have the camera connected to your television screen in your house. When you want to watch HBO, you just turn your television on and you plug whatever cable that's connected to that camera, and you watch HBO on your neighbor's television. Okay? HBO's not on your TV that way. But it is, but it's coming from his house. Does it make sense? I'm trying to explain how the cloud works a little bit. When you watch a YouTube video, when you watch this, if you watch it later, YouTube is a cloud where we watch programs from their data center. Netflix, Hulu, all of the other online streaming video services, instead of them physically downloading the entire motion picture to your hard drive, it just streams the data through the internet to your laptop, your phone, your TV, whatever it is. You watch it, and as soon as you're done, it's gone. It's not on your device any longer. And if you want to watch it again, then you do. But it's still got to come from their cloud. That's how the cloud works, okay? I spent all that time explaining that, and I didn't get into the scripture talking about clouds. But guess who's in there? Guess who's in that cloud? And where are those clouds? They're up in the heaven. Who seeks to be exalted even above the height of the clouds? I think I did a lousy job today explaining where I was. Let me give you some scripture. Let me give you just a little bit here. Genesis 9. I do set my bow in the cloud. Now, who is that bow? That bow is Jesus Christ. That bow is Jesus. 7 colors, all combined together, look white. And that's Jesus Christ. He is the light of the world. And he is the glory of the Lord in the cloud. If I go to the 66th chapter of the Bible, Exodus 16, I have the glory of the Lord in the cloud. And the cloud is always in the heaven. You understand? When Jesus comes back, where will he be? Behold, he cometh in the clouds. And what, get this now, according to the scriptures, what are those clouds composed of? Behold, what great cloud of witness we're surrounded, we're compassed with, or something. That's Hebrews, where is that? Wherefore, seeing we also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses. And Google doesn't just have one big computer. I remember back in the 70s and early 80s, before the internet and all that stuff, and really before home computers, computers were really misunderstood by a vast majority of people. And, the story was, among prophecy experts, was that the European Common Market, which is the European Union now, was going to be the 10 nations, which are the 10 kings of the beast. And they have in Brussels, Belgium, in the big building of the European Common Market, they have a big supercomputer in there. It takes up 10 floors of the building, and they call it the beast. Ooh, that's it. That's the beast. That's going to take over the world. And yeah. And it was one big computer. And it's possible that back in 1977, that may have been true. But I guarantee you, every scrap of that hardware was yanked out and unplugged and scrapped 30 years ago. Guarantee you. Or maybe 20. No, 30. 1992. I guarantee you. It was gone by then. And see, Google doesn't just own one big computer. They own, let's say, let's just make up a number. Let's say they own 500,000 computers with 1,000 hard drives each in these big refrigerated data centers. And let's say they've got, I don't know, I think the article said Microsoft had something like 42 of them or something like that. And they're going to try to bump that up to 50 some odd before too long. And a data center basically is a big warehouse full of computers connected together and very big hard drives and lots of them. So that if you lose a whole data center, let's say the whole building blows up, what happens to your data? Nothing, because it's still on the other 50 whatever data centers that you have. And they're building more and more and more every single day. They're building more data centers and more computers and more bigger hard drives to store the data that artificial intelligence is that the God in the cloud is looking at. and examining all of that data, which is everything in the universe that can be known on this planet right now. That's what's going on. That God is in that cloud. Okay? And he's not really that God yet. But it's getting there. I love you. Gotta run. You're the reason why we do. I'll try to go with this further next week. All right? God bless.